Ngithokoze General Khumalo. Ngizokuthoma mhlambe ngokukubuza ngento ezinenganyana lapha ku issue ye-IDEC. Mara kokuthoma ngifuna ukuku-assure that the issue of the Minister of Police being his life being in disarray, I don't think it's true, because the minister still enjoys the benefits of Parliament, because he's on a suspended leave, he's getting his salary, he's got bodyguards, he's better off. In fact, it's a perversity of justice as far as we are concerned as Umkhonto weSizwe, that the president has erred in that. But I'll start by saying the issue of IDEC. Who arrested you?
It was a team from IDEC led by a senior investigator, Sunil.
Is this the same individual previously mentioned being part of the alleged rock unit at IDEC?
Yes, based on the evidence or discussions that have followed, yes.
Honorable James reportedly mentioned to Andre Johnson, the IDEC head. Do you agree that maybe the rock unit is operating with IDEC? Or that institution is not independent? Or is compromised?
Based on our experiences of late, we agree. I agree. I personally agree.
Thank you.
That's the case.
You mentioned that you were prosecuted by IDEC. This unit was reportedly granted powers to conduct inquiries, gathering information, open cases, investigate, and prosecute. In your view, should we as lawmakers review that?
Thank you, Chair. I strongly believe that that particular section needs to be reviewed, if not that act as a whole, because then it makes it easier for the institution to be used in situations like the one we are facing.
Honorable Cameron raised concern about the alleged takeover of the security clusters by Khan of the Crime Intelligence, Sibia, Subnational DNC, Sisoko, Deputy Head of IDEC, Advocate Patoi, Head of NPA. In the light of this development, will you say that your arrest and the Mkhwanazi media briefing ultimately proven to be a blessing for this country?
One have to agree, because as I was narrating the timeline yesterday, because of time, I could not get to the finishing line to say I'm arrested. We are arrested on the 26th, 27th of June. And then there is a press briefing on the 6th of July. Today we are here.
Thank you, General. In their own admission, when I asked Advocate George Johnson about the participation on the interview of her husband, and point scoring process involving her husband to be appointed as the crime intelligence. What's your view on that, in short? By failing, let me just finish it by saying, by failing to recuse herself, she improperly influenced the outcome, creating a clear conflict of interest and breaching her duty of impartiality. That constitutes serious misconduct and abuse of authority and may attract internal disciplinary action or manipulation if is proven as a criminal liability. Do you agree with me on that?
I do agree. It's highly irregular.
There was definitely a breach of fiduciary duties, yet you were not criminally charged on HR matters before the internal process. Do you need any help, from anyone in that regard, according to you, in terms of how you were arrested?
What we have been taken through the processes, because we are not different from other employees of SAPS. We have been temporarily transferred out of the environment, and then there's been investigation departmentally conducted, and we have been cleared. When it comes to the criminal part, we have successfully opposed the bail condition that, according to us, was encroaching to the departmental processes, which was like suspending us indirectly, that says we must not go back to the offices. So we have successfully fought that part. The only part that is remaining now is for us to go on trial. We'll appreciate that opportunity to go on trial and listen to the evidence led, and then we defend ourselves.
Coming to the issue of Brigadier Nkwashu, you said that he took food and clothes to Katiso Molefe while she was in custody. Is that true?
That is correct. We have affidavits and evidence talking to that.
Is Brigadier Nkwashu charged as we speak here?
I won't be in a position to confirm the HR-related processes. From our side, we submit reports to the accounting officer, and then the accounting officer then will deal with those reports the normal way, like referring them to the HR department to institute actions.
Don't you think that it will be fair that Brigadier Nkwashu be charged for what he did?
Everybody who, according to our information and evidence, interfered and is still interfering with our operations needs to be charged, both departmentally and criminally. And there are investigations that are ongoing, because the interference has not stopped. It's continuing every day.
Coming to, I know that this matter is in court. The sense of your case investigation, it was intelligently driven investigation, am I right?
Not sure, honorable member, because I was not involved in that investigation of Senzo case.
So the issue of Gininza, you don't know, it was not approved by you?
No, it was before my time.
Now that we know that a country relationship, a corrupt relationship with EMPD, the issue which you've spoken about and is on your affidavit, that a JPE member, I think Mokhatle, is taking 500 rand from Mr. Molefe for registering cars. Did you charge Mokhatle for that? Because that's criminal.
The process so far, we have submitted the report to the department, which is JMPD. From our side, that is one of the dockets that are with the NPA for decision.
I guess there's negligence and indolent as far as these matters are concerned, in a sense that they drag for too long, because our people, abantu angibeke ngesikhethu, abantu ekhaya bayacomplaina ngokuthi mhlambe imraro le eyenza ukuthi kube nongwarangwarana. Kusho ukuthi mangikhuluma ngongwarangwarana kusho ukuthi kuna these personality clashes between the security clusters, in a sense that abantu abasanakhona confidence ngendlela izinto ziragwa ngakhona la ekhaya ngikhuluma ngekhaya ngikhuluma ngeSouth Africa ukuthi when it comes to the judiciary. In fact, one member, unfortunately, we spoke about the issue of the judiciary for a very long time. He's been complaining for years that the judiciary is corrupt, the judiciary is captured. And as we sit here, we know today that there's one judge who's on bail in the issue of Usandlane. I think it's a church-related matter. But she's not the only one. And I guess that as a core committee, it's not about you, General, on this one. We have to take a decision on that matter because we can't make allegations and it ends as allegations. I know that Nina njengabantu abantu kanjalo aba responsible for the safety of South African citizens. There's nothing wrong of what you did. And I'm going back to that issue of the minister because we have to connect the dot. The court will decide whether in writing the investigation of what, or let me put it, your findings, whether they are correct, is not upon you. Your job is to investigate. And hence I'm saying to you, there's nothing wrong of what you guys did when it comes to the issue of the minister, because the issue of disbandment as well, whether Mukhotsi, Ket Matlala, and General Sibia, where, according to the statement which you put before us, for me, from where we are sitting as Umkhonto Wesizwe, we believe that there's nothing wrong which was committed by you as an investigating officer or any state agents, because those are investigations. You haven't judged the minister as yet. The court will decide. And hence I was saying to you earlier, there's nothing wrong with that. But coming to this General, I'm going to pose few questions for you as well. I'm going to say to you, because I don't want, in fact, let me just leave the matter of this PKTT, because we've traversed that matter on several occasions with different witnesses here, and my colleagues have done so earlier. But I can't ignore it. Because you remember that in March 2024, given that the IMC was not briefed, can you help us to understand what does it mean for the minister without consulting SSA? Because remember, it was not only the SAPS. In one word, was the minister correct to disband the PKTT without these other agencies?
As per my response in my affidavit, I'll still maintain that according to my view, it was not correct for the minister to disband the PKTT the way it was disbanded.
I will agree with you on that, because when you look at KZN, I look at your statements here, the killings of traditional leaders and political activists. And besides that, there was a task team which was established, I think a month earlier, before this task team was disbanded, which for me means that there was an ulterior motive. But the court will give us the facts if we are right, as this matter is still an ongoing matter. On page 207, when you refer to a provincial commissioner who instructed Brigadier Nkwachu to retrieve the dockets in relating to the investigation into Mr. Katiso Molefe, are you referring to the provincial commissioner of Gauteng?
Yes, that is correct.
Is that a normal procedure for a provincial commissioner to intervene, specific with criminal dockets, to the extent of even threatening a member of SAPS and intimidating them to take action on what seems to be an operational questionable instruction, as you agree that I'm not sure, let me not put weight into weight. Is it correct for the Provincial Commissioner to do that?
It is for that reason, Honorable Chair, we included that on our timeline that is raising suspicions, because there are lots of unfamiliar actions that are coming there then on that instruction of the 16th of April. The Provincial Commissioner is supposed to do that through the Deputy Provincial Commissioner responsible for crime detection.
In relation to Matlala's phone, I want to, I think, try to find out about this, because Advocate Johnson was here. Did Advocate Johnson lie to the committee? Let me say this on record. When she gave evidence that the phone was tampered with, why do you think she will come here and mislead the committee? And what motive, in your view, was he trying to get from the committee here?
The assertion by the head of IDEC made one to grow in the suspicions of the whole event. As I was narrating, we were busy with the downloading of the phones, but then the pressure that we received through the National Commission from IDEC to hand over the phones. Up until today, we do not know which investigation IDEC was busy with. So that also adds in our suspicions that the reason might be wanting to know what is it that we know, sent by someone, because hence the phones were quickly, the poor DFI complying with the instructions from the national commissioners and heads of IDEX. That's why the phones had to package without switching them off, because it was, but up until today, the only thing that I instructed, that I had power to do, I said, investigating officer and the commander, you sit, you don't get out of the room when they download. Until they were done, they must reseal in front of you and hand. It happened within 2-3 hours. But that raised suspicions from us as to what was the reason. Somewhere in other circles, there is a question, what is the rush? Because if you have been investigating Kat Matlala and you hear that there is a team that has charged him and they are in possession of his phones and they are still working on his phones, why can't you wait? And thereafter you request. So it's those facts that makes us include issues like that in my affidavit.
Kat Matlala mentioned several people, when we visited him at the Khoshimampuru, that he was close to both General Shibiri, General Sibiya. He then said General Sibiya is the most powerful job at SARS because he's able to redirect any target. Is that true?
It's a misinformation and misplaced. Or it does not have those powers to redirect any docket. As a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, he is responsible for the policies as well as to ensure that that function takes place. But people that are owning the dockets starting from lower level, first is the station commander. That's why then each and every case is given the station name. And then from there is the district commander to the provincial commissioner. At national level, we do not have a police station. There is no case numbers for as divisions.
So in other words, with those 121 dockets, General Sibia was completely wrong to have ordered those targets to where they were kept for 5 months.
In my view, yes.
Before Jerry Bukhochi was taken, we are told that there was an argument. Where is that matter? Because we are told Jerry Bukhochi is still not found as we speak here.
As I highlighted during my evidence yesterday, that the team has recently got back the docket. Then the team then is in the process of attempting to revive the investigation that was done up until the 6th of December 2024 in order then, one, to find the victim of kidnapping and also to find those responsible.
Now, the wife of Jerry Bukhochi, I'm not sure whether did you get the WhatsApp, the voice note which she sent to say the husband is crying for help. Did you ever get such a thing?
I think I got a report from the team summarizing that WhatsApp on their reports.
Yesterday, and I think in your submission, you spoke about Mashele, you spoke about the house, which you said that Mashale, in fact, is a Dinsrangel former member of SAPS as well. Am I right?
That's correct.
Now, you said that there's a group of former policemen and women in the WhatsApp group elsewhere. Am I right?
That's correct.
Most of those people, in fact, because there are many, maybe you can't name them. And you said that there's a parallel a team in some of the investigation, which is improper. Am I right if I heard you well?
That's correct.
Now, I'm going back to where I was earlier. The arrest of Molefe. You said that there was an helicopter roving around. Was that from your division or was it from it was from the other division, DPCI?
The helicopter was from the structure that is in Gauteng provincial government, and it is then have the direct links and memorandum of understanding with DPCI. So we learned that after then our investigation, we got this affidavit from the pilot. We got the affidavit from the one who activated the pilot. That's when then we became aware that even the helicopter was activated from the DPCI route.
Now, why was who's this guy? I think is it Mokhatle, the one we spoke about from JPMD. What was his interest in the matter of Molefe, in your view? And why there were so many security state agents when Molefe was arrested?
Firstly, according to our understanding, after the whole event, we looked at an officer from JMPD as a go-to guy who is providing then information as quickly as possible for Molefe if there is something suspicious. And he confirmed that he is very close to him. that is Officer Mohale confirming. So the whole festivities that happened during that day and during that operation, it opened our eyes, and we are just lucky, maybe if I may put it, because in terms of our planning, we did not foresee what happened. We had very few members there that were outnumbered by the sympathizers, private persons, the security detail of MULIF, and the DPCI contingents and the helicopters and so we were just lucky that there is somewhere in my statement, my affidavit, when I say if it was not for PKTT, Katiso MULIF will not have been arrested. Fortunately for us, in the PKTT, we have assembled and trained a team that is very capable of doing whatever that needs to be done.
Ngifuna ukuthokoza noch ngisesenama minute nyana ku4. Let me just finish it off by saying uthe uthi sekuna 2 ukhipha 2. Mara ngifuna ukuthi ke General Khumalo and your team, I know ukuthi this matter, it's like any other matter. South Africans, abantu bekhaya apha, they are very disappointed the way ngendlela ezinye izinto ziragwa ngakhona. Isho ukuthi i-issue, I know bathi ngizaba isiqeda mzini. I-issue ka Senzomeyiwa noma ise court nje. Sibonile siyabona umakhe is crying, uyalila ngumntanakhe ukuthi tot namhlanje akahelebheki noma indaba leyise court, because ngathi babona ngathi amapolisa idocket leya bayimorosa. Ngamanye amagama kube ne-interference when it comes to idocket. I know ukuthi ngu-divisional head we-crime intelligence, nguwe ophethe i-crime intelligence. And akunento ongayenza, you can't interfere in that matter. Mara ngibawa ukuthi udlulise, ngoba ngayidlulisa into le ku-commissioner, ukuthi amapolisa sewabawa, ngoba abantu bekhaya apha bathembele kiwo for ukuthi bacale into zabo. Kungaba kuhle ukuthi kiyo wonke ama-case akhona akhakha basiphathe kuhle, ngoba sithindeke kakhulu izolo masizwa uthi almost 90% yamapolisa eGauteng akhona endweni ezithinteka nalabantu abenza izinto ezirong. Ingebengu nabantu laba aba-extort abantu nje abenza izinto eziphumile ezingekho emthethweni. Lethu lokugcina lithi akunento wrong amapolisa enikwenzako, because remember manibopha umuntu ama-allegations lawa khona ikhotho ezayenza into leyo. In other words, I'm saying there's nothing wrong about, I want to emphasize that I've got nothing against the Minister of Police. It's not personal, but there's nothing wrong as far as we are concerned as Mkondo, up to what we have seen now. Ngoba uGeneral Mkhwanazi ngezi-6 zangoJuly akunento wrong ayenzako, usivula amehlo sonke, and sibawa ukuthi nimhelebhe nibe nesibindi. Akukho lula ukuthi ingihuluphelo zabantu abanzima in this country, the wishes of our people and their dreams must not be in vain. Ngoba sithembele kunina, ngaphandle kwenu asikakaphephi. Ngalawo magama ngithi man nibambelana la nibambe khona, ngiyangithokoza emgcinisihlalo.
Thank you so much, Honorable Skosana. But muja morago ke kgosi. Sometimes we tolerate you as the last speaker, hoping that you will say the last word, and you end up taking a minute. Before we conclude, we are going to give to Advocate Arends. I just want to check one or two things with you, General. Advocate Batoi, when she was here, she said to us that the reason why investigations could have been jeopardized in the Senzo Meyiwa case was because there were multiple teams from the SAPS that went there doing parallel investigations on one case. And you say to us here that when you were dealing with one case, there was a situation where the Deputy National Commissioner also appointed a parallel team to go and work on the same case, and eventually the docket was even taken away from the other team. Did I hear you correctly?
That's correct, Honorable Chair.
How rife is such a practice on cases? Because now we have more than one cases where something like that happens, where you have parallel teams investigating on the same cases. How rife is that in the SAPS?
Thank you, Chair. That is very rife. The investigation has become now an opportunity to do wrong things, depending as to especially the high-profile investigations, because there might be a team that wants to get in so as then they further their negative objectives of extorting monies from those that are or might be responsible. So that is rife. Hence, the methodology of the PKTT, as I've been explaining it yesterday, there is only one investigating officer and the rest are experts, and they are all owning that docket. One of the reasons why it's not easy for us to implement this methodology that will help on the issue that Chairperson is raising is it makes the chances of corruption, this approach makes the chances of corruption to be very slim, because there is no IO who's owning the docket. The docket is owned. In fact, the accusations that I've received is I give the dockets to people that are not investigating officers. The docket remains with the analysts that are unpacking it every day. When the IO comes back with a statement, they take that statement and then they analyze it against all the evidence that they have in their respective analysis fields. So the docket is owned by the whole team, is not owned by. So Khumalo is a problem with the PKTT, because this methodology that is implementing makes it impossible then for that tendency of removing the dockets to whichever team that you will want.
So the involvement of this supernumeraries, because I mean, you can imagine once you have more than one team, it means the numbers are unnecessarily bloated in one case. So the involvement of this supernumeraries is driven by a more than sufficient interest in the case.
That is correct, Honorable Chair, because it happens on mainly the high-profile investigations or high-profile cases. Hence, then I'll also add, Chair, that the comments that are talking to what is Khumalo doing, because he's the divisional commissioner, doing in the particular investigation. And if you get those questions coming from the leaders of the institutions, and then one suspects that it's because there are lots of dockets that if they fall on the way of Khumalo's methodology, then all the truth will come out.
So in cases where supernumeraries have been involved, what has been the rate of success?
On the high profile?
Yeah. Because you can see now the picture you are giving us here that there is competing interest from members of the SAPS themselves. So how does that impact on the success of the case? I'm here looking for justice. Yourselves in the office are jostling for space in my case. What is the prospect? What have been the prospects of success in cases like in such high-profile cases?
The chances are very slim, or if they are successes, and they will be having challenges, like in the case referred to by the honorable member, the Senzo Meiwa case. So the chances are very slender.
So the victims becomes, number one, the victims of a crime committed against them. And number two, they become victims of sinister motives by SAPS officials.
That is correct.
Can we attribute the reasons why it has taken us so long in the Senzo Meiwa case to practices like those?
It's very possible because as the information on hand points towards the involvement of many teams in that investigation from the beginning.
And in the case where you were involved, where the deputy commissioner appointed a parallel team, how has that affected the work of that team?
I pointed it out, Chairperson, Honorable Chair, that we were starting with the operationalization of the intelligence and evidence that we had on hand on the 6th of December 2024. Now, when then we were halted, and then it affected the investigation because now after almost after a year, that docket is coming back, and then we have to go back and check as to what is it that is still there. It's like starting from scratch.
Honorable James has asked you about the 2021 case at the Durban Harbour, where a container with a consignment of about 500 million or more was detected by the police. Do you still remember that incident?
Yes, I do, Honorable Chair.
Did I hear you properly that the consignment from the container was offloaded by SAPS officials?
It was the statement by the honorable member, but I concur with her in terms of the reports that we have.
You are concurring with the statement that she made?
Yes, sir.
And that the consignment was transported from Durban to Johannesburg.
Yes, we confirm.
Okay. And then in the position, because it's 5 years now since 2021, maybe 4 years and some months to complete 5 years. In the position that you are as the divisional head of intelligence, can I assume that you know those people who, or any person who would have been in that position before you? Can I assume that those officials who offloaded the consignment and transported it from Durban to Johannesburg are known in the SAPS or to the authorities? Can I make that assumption?
Yes, we can make that assumption, Honorable Chair.
And then are those officials still in the employ of the SAPS?
It's very possible, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very, very difficult one. Yeah. Okay, no, it's fine. Let's move to the next point. And this one here was made by yourself when you were responding to some questions raised by Honorable Sangon. You say that we have picked a lot of people that have interacted with Mr. Matala on exchange of money. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Among those people that you have picked are the SAPS officials.
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
And amongst those SAPS officials, would there be those that would have received money from Mr. Matala?
That is correct.
And these officials, in the position where you are, or anybody who would have been in this position that you currently are incumbent, would have reported to the SAPS authorities that, because my assumption is that when you do intelligence work, you don't do it for yourself or your family. You don't compile reports. There is somewhere where those reports go. And obviously the authorities that are reported to have this information about these officials who transported a cocaine consignment from Durban to Johannesburg, they know about another set of officials who will call and say, hey, Menier man, hey, go to Shenyana, man. And then the authorities know about these activities, to your knowledge, or are there still reports that are being compiled which will be sent for the attention of the authorities? But for sure, my assumption is that in part or in parts, some information has already gone through to the authorities.
That's what I can confirm, Honorable Chair, that from our investigation that we're busy with, based on my statement that the chairperson referred to, there are reports that have been submitted already on some of the individuals to the respective principals.
Now, let me talk to your conscience now, because when she asked you a question here about any possibilities or prospects of you working together in the SAPS, you said, yeah, no, we still have a chance that we can work together. Out of conscience, let's say you put a helmet of integrity on your head and a badge of conscience on your chest. Can you walk into a boardroom of the SAPS and draw a strategic plan for the SAPS with me that you know that this is a confirmed criminal?
It has been happening like that, Chairperson.
I want to know, can you walk conscientiously into that boardroom? Look, the reports are there with the authorities. it might have been you or your predecessor or any other person. You have compiled reports to say this is what is happening. We have evidence. We present it before you. Then an honorable member of parliament said, General Khumalo, is there still an opportunity for you as the leadership of the SAPS to work together and salvage this institution and make it an institution of choice or a servant of the people of South Africa? You said yes.
Yes.
So now, as a conscious citizen or an employee working for a government that seeks to achieve developmental objectives, how do you consciously walk into a lion's den? You know there is a mother, a voiceless mother, vulnerable, who does not have anybody to stand for her. With the information that you have, you know who killed her child. And the person who killed that child or people who are in cahoots with those criminals, they sit at the highest echelon and plan a strategic, what do you call this, APP, an annual performance plan of a department, and say, this is how we are going to fight crime as the SAPS in the country. How do you, General Khumalo, how do you consciously walk in such corridors?
Thank you, Chair. What makes me to respond positively was because one looks at these processes that are currently on, and the stance that some of us have taken, that if we can then resolve these issues and we remove those that we have identified as being then on that other wrong side, we are still positive that we can turn the corner.
I'm asking you the last two questions. First of the last will be, how long, or based on your observation or assessment of the way the SAPS currently operates, how long, if we were to leave everything to yourselves as the SAPS without any intervention from the executive or parliament, how long would it take for the SAPS to deal with these rogue elements within itself? Or is there any opportunity that by itself, without anybody's intervention, is there any opportunity that the SAPS can deal with these virulent elements?
It's not easy to determine the timelines, Honorable Chair, because it's a process. If the matter has to follow the criminal route, we have been talking to the criminal justice system, and there are these parallel structures throughout the criminal justice system that are created. So it won't be easy for one to determine, because it's not about SAPS having all the powers. From the side of using the internal disciplinary procedures, it needs the SAPS top management to prioritize that and work on it. It won't come with the results overnight. As I made an example of our division currently, that is not.
But okay, let me speak like a member of the public who is looking for justice. Is it possible that within the SAPS, the people who killed Babita Deokaran are known?
Within the SAPS, it's possible.
Is it possible that the people who killed within the SAPS?
Yes, it's possible.
Or officials of the SAP, it is possible that one of the officials of the SAPS knows who killed Babita Deokaran?
It's possible, Chair.
And is it possible that within the SAPS, there is an official who knows the people who killed Witness D?
It's possible.
Is it possible that within the SAPS, there is an official who knows the people who killed DJ Waras?
Very possible again, Chair.
And many other victims whose names are not being mentioned.
Yes.
Is it possible that there could have been SAPS officials involved in the murders of those victims?
Looking at the.
You have just mentioned the murder of Swart. Yes. That there was an SAPS official involved.
That's exactly why my response has been a yes, because I was saying, looking at our experiences, in one of the cases, I think there are about 3 or 4 cases, political related cases in KZN, we had 2 members of the shift that was hired as hitmen.
The case of Sindiso Makaka.
Yes.
Where you say that the gun that was used to kill him comes from crime intelligence.
It's all those experiences that makes one to respond positive on your questions, Chairperson.
Okay. So my last question to you would be then to say, in the light of the picture that you have presented before us, the shenanigans that happen within the police officials themselves, and the escalating levels of crime where the onslaught against the public goes unabated. And with the seemingly state of paralysis that is there in the SAPS, because it's like it has been disabled. It can't arrest criminals, but it knows who the criminals are. What are the recommendations that you are making before this House of Parliament? That if the following were to be done, we think we can get the SAPS right, whether in terms of legislative interventions, in terms of policy, operational, daily operations, anything. What are the strategic interventions that you think can be done to help the SAPS to be an institution of choice for the people of South Africa?
Thank you, Chair. Is firstly, according to my opinion, is to continue cleaning out the rogue elements uniformly so within the whole SAPS, so as then we can be able to start to have a clean SAPS that is going to focus on the same goals, other than the current moment where we have all these problems that are related to issues of integrity. And in terms of oversight, I will also, that's why I was reluctant to answer the question that talks to what is it that SAPS alone can do, because there is a need also for the strengthening of the oversight without duplicating, but strengthening it such that then it's able then to give the proper strategic overview of whatever activities that are taking place within SAPS.
But how manifest is this to the provinces? Do you have what is being depicted here at national level? Does it have manifestations at subnational level?
It's possible, but one then is not having the picture currently, but it's very possible.
Okay. Advocate Arons.
Thank you, Chairperson. Fortunately, I actually just want to feed into or pick up from those questions you posed to General Khumalo, which I think are critical. And hopefully it's a sign that as we complete this final phase, we're thinking of possible solutions and what remedial action we can propose to Parliament. So just in relation to that, I've got a very short time, General, so I'm rather going to put these questions to you, and hopefully you can capture them and respond. There's a clear divide within SAPS at senior management level and seemingly also through the ranks, given your testimony yesterday that some 90% of the Gauteng officers are somehow working for or connected to the cartel. And this is also clearly apparent from the witnesses that have appeared. Some of these witnesses, like yourself, like General Mkhonazi and others, and there's also other witnesses who have been in the system for years, who now express support for General Mkhonazi after his 6 July media announcement. Was this discontent or tension within SAPS, was this brewing for all this time? Was it evident to you as someone who's been in the service since I think the early 90s, 1991? Has that been the case?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The response, as one was growing within SAPS, you are exposed at the level where you are. So one was an operator for a long time. Then when you get to strategic levels, and then you start then realizing that there is somewhere where I made an example of a chocho by a constable or a sergeant underneath the tree in the rural areas. Then you realize then that because as you grow up the ranks, then you get to the levels where you are. You realize that the problem is much bigger than what you knew all along as you were growing up the ranks.
So I know we, and maybe as the lawyers, we're supposed to find or come up with these answers. But how do we deal with conflicting evidence, especially, and this is the part that I'm requesting your response, especially where we hamstrung by confidentiality restrictions, classified issues, which you are perhaps privy to. For example, we know of the 2 persons clearly that have been mentioned who are part or 2 of the 5 of the cartel, but we don't know the other names, and the other names are under investigation by crime intelligence. Now, does the same thing apply to, because General Mkhonazi is alleged that there are judges involved, there's prosecutors, the whole criminal justice system. No judges have been mentioned to us. prosecutors, Shamila Batoy testified before us. He knows some people have been disciplined or so, but certainly according to her evidence, no prosecutor, especially senior prosecutors involved in high-profile matters, has particularly been mentioned to us in this committee.
Thank you, Chair. The honorable member, one of the honorable members yesterday raised an issue of a previous discussion by the committee in terms of maybe clarifying the issue of an in-camera evidence by some of us. As it's indicated in my affidavit that there is other evidence that one is not legally allowed to share in a public platform. So maybe then it's something that the evidence leader and the committee has to look at.
Okay. Yeah, we've just recently had a meeting, and yeah, we will with the chairperson work on that a bit more. So you suggest an in-camera hearing, obviously with the authorization of the Joint Committee on Intelligence.
Yes.
Now these three are related. Much has been made, especially by Minister Mkhunu, of what is regarded, because these, you remember, this is one of the reasons after the event that he gave for the 31 December 2024 directive. Much has been made about what is regarded as the disproportionate amount, hundreds of millions, as you know, spent on PKTT in relation to political killings, especially in KZN, as compared to the unacceptably high daily murder rate, especially in our poor communities. And in this regard, you highlighted the differences between the murder and robbery unit and the PKTT. But it appears, and you must please just clarify this, it appears that the mandate of the PKTT has been expanded or has been made more flexible. For example, your intervention on the 6th of December when Molefe was arrested, and when you also went to the Eastern Cape and dealt with the Fort Hare matter. Is it the case that given your position as the head of crime intelligence and also your involvement in PKTT, perhaps not on the same level as you had been before you were appointed as head of crime intelligence, that PKTT perhaps enjoys a privileged access to classified information and is perhaps then more successful, in inverted commas, in resolving murder cases than your ordinary murder and robbery unit?
Thank you, Chairperson. It's not true. The truth is, as long as we concentrate on this name, by the way, as people that established this team, we do not know where this name is coming from, PKTT. But then we have learned to join the chorus by saying PKTT. According to my view, that's where we are getting it wrong. We are concentrating on the PKTT. All what we have been saying is it's the methodology that needs to be adopted. Whether it's adopted by the murder and robbery unit, it's fine. Whether it's adopted by DPCI, it's fine. Why we are voting for this methodology, it's because it will deal with most of the issues and the problems that were raised by the chairperson a few minutes earlier, that we have integrity issues. Now, once you do not have the ownership of the docket belonging to a certain individual, which is what the PKTT methodology is against, then you would have dealt with some of the problems. So all what we are saying is it's the methodology that needs to be implemented. It has got nothing to do with General Khumalo being the coordinator and also the brigadier at ORS, because the PKTT, because of its methodology, was successful and its mandate extended, even when the now General Khumalo was a brigadier from ORS and a major general from ORS. It's the methodology.
But then surely that is a methodology that the National Commissioner, because it's an operational issue, isn't it? It's not for Parliament to instruct, or for the Minister. Surely the National Commissioner can direct that methodology must be adopted. And then there's also those I forget the name of it now. I think it's Section 10 of the Police Act, where they have these. I think you have quarterly meetings. The senior officers. You know what I'm talking about, you know, with the National Commissioner. And surely there we one of the reasons why you meet is to coordinate your work across the country, across the provinces. Surely that is where it can be discussed, and if it's effective and successful, where it must be applied across the board.
As per the example that I cited of a decision that was taken during one of the BOCs, that each province must send plus minus 5 members to PKTT to learn the methodology, which was done, but the problem was with the implementation. It was not implemented.
Okay. The Ministerial Directive of 31 December 2024 has not been withdrawn, as far as I know, as far as we are concerned, or been set aside. We know, for example, that PKTT has not been disbanded. In fact, you have some, I think yesterday you said 600 and odd cases. So it's grown exponentially. But what about, you remember the directive in relation to the border management, and specifically the one where the minister now on leave directed that all posts in crime intelligence be frozen? What has happened with that directive? I think you did say that there are vacancies in crime intelligence which need to be filled. Has this been discussed with the acting minister, Minister Kachalia?
The directive has not been discussed with the acting minister in my presence. I'm not aware of any discussions. Yesterday, during my testimony, I referred to the discussions that I've had with the National Commissioner, whereby he indicated that the posts from our environment that were halted will be re-advertised. The task team is continuing with its work, so I'm not sure of the third point then as to what is the impact, because it's more related to visible policy.
I'm almost there, Chair. In dealing with the SAP's senior management, do all senior members have security clearance and so have access to classified or confidential information? And I ask this question in the light of what appears to be still differences and tensions within senior management level.
Yes. So not all senior management have security clearance, and it's a question that one cannot answer in this fashion of discussion, because one of the senior managers' security clearance might have expired yesterday. Then here I say is having, because security clearance has got timeline. So it's a question that needs to be asked, and then one then goes to the system and provides the accurate, especially if you are under oath, the accurate answer.
Then to access telecommunications of a person, private person, or an organization entity, is authorization required from a magistrate or a judge, where you have to submit an affidavit to get that authorization?
Yes, in terms of Act 70, then you need the authorization from the judge.
So even crime intelligence
Comply.
conducting covert operations have to do this, except that you will go what they call ex parte to a judge or magistrate in chambers, submit the affidavit, and the magistrate or the judge will look at it.
No, the intelligence community is afforded a dedicated judge that is dealing with their applications.
And that judge is not on your list. Okay, this is the last question. It's actually for you to confirm. I shared with you this morning some documents which were actually privileged or confidential about your arrest, and we know from your statement that you've taken it on review, and from what we've shared this morning, it appears clearly that there were a number of irregularities. And it doesn't seem as if the case, you will succeed, or alternatively, IDEC will withdraw their opposition to your application.
It confirms the evidence that I touched upon when I referred to the coincidence of the 6th of December. So everything up to so far, including the information that we discussed this morning, it's still confirming that coincidence.
That's the 6th of December is one of our important dates. That was the date when Molepi was arrested. But it's also an affidavit with a signed in Cape Town and commissioned in Pretoria. Something to that effect.
That's correct.
Thank you very much, General, and thank you for your time and your support and your dedication to the good cause.
Thank you so much, Zoleka Godash. Thank you so much for being with us from the first day until today. Andrew Bennett and Jason Felix. Thank you so much, guys. You know, Advocate Mokhaitz, when we were at the Kgosi Mampuru during that week, these journalists could not have space just to take photos, you know, because they were overcrowded by people who are not going to be with us. So these journalists have stood the test of time, and I want to thank you so much. And I believe that your supervisors are noticing the work that you are doing. I just felt that I must recognize you and thank you for the work that you are doing for your respective institutions, but also keeping the people of South Africa informed. Advocate Arendse and your team, Advocate Norman Arendse, Advocate Mariam White, and Advocate Bongiwe Mkhize. We also want to thank you for the sterling work. We are going for a very busy week next week with Mr. McBride coming here on Tuesday and Wednesday, and Mr. Julius Mkhwana coming on Thursday and Friday. We just want to thank you so much for that. Honorable members, thank you so much for your commitment and your contribution in the work of the committee. General Khumalo and your support team, we want to thank you so much for spending the last 2 days with us. We are going to have a committee meeting on Monday at 10 o'clock to deal with the issues that we must deal with, preparing for the next week and the other weeks. I want to thank the staff of Parliament, led by you, Nicolette, for your ever presence, and the staff of political parties here. Honorable Sols.
No, Chair, I just wanted to remind you that one other journalist was also here from day one, Jason there.
Who is that one? Jason Phillips.
He's from day one.
No. I recognized him. Yeah, and I read the name. I was looking right at in his eyes when I read the name. He can confirm that I read his name. They will always be here. We must give them the title of Honorable. Say Honorable Zoleka, Honorable Bennett, Honorable Jason. It sounds good, eh? Honorable Skosan.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, for acknowledging them. But those who were mentioned here day before yesterday who are not here, I think we must call them as well, Chair. Thank you.
Who are those that were mentioned?
Those ones, your Maria Tam or Peter Tutoy or whatever, those ones who are... thank you.
I am mentioning these ones because these are the faces that I see here every day. And, let me tell you something that is very encouraging. Have you been aware that in most of the cases, in Mr. Khafale, they arrive here before all of us? When we arrive here, in fact, sometimes when we leave our homes, Zoleka is already on television telling us what we are coming to deal with when we come here. It's very, very encouraging, and we want to thank them collectively so much for the work that... Honorable members, I just want to remind you that in our last meeting, there were matters that honorable members have raised which they will want them to be discussed in our next meeting. Just make sure that those items, you remind the Secretariat about them so that they must not miss the agenda of Monday. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. This is the weekend of the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. It's the Africa Cup of Nations. Just give yourself time to see what is happening on the continent. Thank you so much.